I used to teach at Los Alamos National Lab, creative thinking, 4 times a year. These are the smartest nuclear physicists in the world, right? I'm just a dumbass chemical engineer. So I know they're not going to listen to me. Here's how I start every presentation. I don't make eye contact with them. I walk in the room and I have a chart that says the history of physics. And I just go through it and I go, wrong, 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 wrong. Every 10 to 15 years, physics is completely wrong. Whatever you thought was right is completely wrong. So I just beat them to death. Still ain't looking at them. I'm just beating them down. And I turn to them, I go, based on all that, you guys agree with all those things I just said? And they all go, yeah. That means there's a 98% probability that your doctor's thesis is worse shit. Because whatever you were working on, we're going to find out in 20 years is completely inaccurate. And they all kind of slouch in their chair. I do it on purpose to slap them around a little bit so they open their mind and think about the world a little bit different. Is you don't know everything. You don't know anything hardly, right? Life is a video game. You just keep going to the next level when you figure it out.
Into life. I'm your host, Aaron, here to challenge the norms and ignite your potential. If you're ready to level up, don't forget to subscribe and join the movement. Now, let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to They Not Like Us. As always, I'm your host, Aaron, and today I'm joined by Mark Fox. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Well, thank you for having me, Aaron. It's been great.
It's my pleasure. Could you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
Oh, I've done a lot of different things. I guess probably, working on the space shuttle program, I was a chief engineer on the solid rocket boosters for about 16 years. And I did that, and I went into computers and e-commerce, and I actually own part of a women's clothing company. I think I still do. I'm not sure. It's kind of a weird thing, but just lots of different things. I've been interested in frequency. My dog got sick about 27 years ago, and a veterinarian told me, hey, there's this magic machine that can help with your dog's arthritis. It can reverse it. So I learned about that. As I said, I'm a rocket scientist, so I was super skeptical about it, but I've been learning it and seeing more and more how it's actually real and can do things. And then I saw what it was doing for PTSD and trauma with people. And then it basically made me really angry that it was being held hostage in a clinical environment with doctors. And so that's what kind of led me down the path to what I'm doing today, which is PEMF, or energy devices for holistic healing for the most part. The main flagship product we have right here is called Vibe. It looks like an old Apple iPod on purpose because I made it look like that. But that's kind of the background. That's what I've been doing. Now it's probably PEMF is Pulsed Electromagnetic Fields. The energy can be delivered by light, sound, vibration, electrical current, or magnetic fields. I just chose magnetic fields because it's more user friendly and stick it in your pocket, forget you even have it. So, but that's what it is. It's the main thing I've been working on. We're growing really fast. I mean, started off with me and the fish over there 2 years ago, and 8 months ago I'm the only person in the team. I probably have a dozen people now. So we're growing. We're probably the fastest growing BMF company in the world, which has good news and bad news to it. But that's where we're at. So that's what I've been working on lately is energy therapies. And I'm not a doctor. I'm a rocket scientist. So I don't even play a doctor on TV. So
No worries. Mark, that transition, how did that transition come about from kind of working on kind of space shuttles into the wellness space?
It's going to be a weird answer, but I got offered a really big promotion in the rocket world. And I'm like, if I take it, that's all I'll do the rest of my career. Because I saw what happened to people is because you get sucked into like, you can't afford to ever do a career change. You can, but you're not gonna. So I just made a decision when I got the offers, like go try something else. Just because I didn't want to do rockets forever. I wanted to see what else was out there. So that's how that happened. I went to make airplane parts, and then that wasn't too far from the government. And then I got into iOmega and computers and e-commerce and stuff. And then I teach creative thinking for businesses. So I was doing keynote lectures and workshops for 8 to 10 years. I still do them. And then, like I said, then this therapy thing with my dog came along, and that's how I got kind of really interested in that piece of it. But the fundamentals are the same, whether it's women's clothing or rockets. There's a 90-10 rule, and what are people? For example, when I got to iOmega, phone bill was $33 million a year. That was a phone bill, okay, in 1998. And I'm like, well, why are people calling? And like, I didn't get all these attitudes and stuff. I'm like, well, where's the data? What are we measuring? They hadn't measured anything. They didn't know. So then you just figure out, here's the top 5 reasons they're calling, and fix it so they quit calling, right? So just that kind of blocking and tackling that's just so simple in business applies to any industry I've been in. It's not any different between rocket science and women's clothing.
Yeah. Mark, that PEMF, I've never heard of it before. Can you kind of give me a basic, because I'm probably not as intelligent as you, I would guess,
I'm
being
sure
a
you
rocket
are.
science. But can you please give me like a breakdown on what it is actually does and how it does it?
Yeah, so talking at a higher level for a minute it's an energy transfer. So nothing in the world happens without an energy transfer. You don't breathe oxygen, you don't digest food, you don't drive your car, you don't walk, you don't fall down, break your hand, right? All that's an energy transfer. So as I already said, it can be light, electrical current, vibration, sound, magnetic fields. Okay. Magnetic therapy has been around for 3,500 years. That's the first publication. I mean, it's that long, just static magnets. But what was discovered back in about Tesla's time in the 1900s was pulsed electromagnetic fields are up to 100 times more therapeutic. So that's where that came from. It's not voodoo in that the Earth puts out PEMF all the time. I'll show it to you real fast. It's called the Schumann frequencies, 7.83, 14.1, and 20.3 hertz. So you see that little white line jumping around, that's going to get focus. We can.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
That's Earth's heartbeat. Okay. So you're engulfed in PEMF. The whole world is all the time. So it's all around us. It's just how do you focus and channel that same type of thing to be more therapeutic. So how does it actually work? And I make every doctor mad when I bring this up. Nobody knows how aspirin works. Nobody knows how any drug in the world works. And nobody knows how a microwave oven works. Okay. And I can argue anyone to death on those points. Now, you have theories about how they work, but they've never been proven. So start with that premise. You don't know how any drug works. What we do know, we know that the cells in your body have a voltage on them. And when that voltage gets low, just like a car battery, you get sick. So low voltage on your cells is no good. And then ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it's the number one fuel that your cells use for food. So PEMF has been shown, excuse me, to increase the voltage on your cells. That's been proven. And increase in ATP, it increases ATP up to 500%. So those two things, I'm recharging your cells in your body. I'm giving your body cells the food they need so your body can do what it does best, which is heal itself. That's the highest level. There's 1,000 other theories. You can go 10,000 theories under that you don't get into, actually, because I don't care. No, in my lifetime would you ever discover, like I said, we don't know how a microwave oven works. Okay? We have theories. So I just rely on, as long as you're not hurting anybody and it's safe, which it is, relief before reason. Just, it's working. I don't want to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out why, because I won't anyway. I'd rather just help as many people as I can. So that's it. It's the highest level, Aaron. It's recharging your cells' batteries, and it's giving your body, your cells, food so it can do what it does best.
Yeah, I don't know much about the kind of a voltage about cells or anything like that, but obviously there's some sort of I want to say electricity that kind of it makes cells interact, and that's kind of proven in it with like neurons and stuff like that, and like how they fire and whatever else. It's like it's very similar to, if not a form of electricity. But the adenosine triphosphate thing, that's something I know of from training in the gym, and that's why lots of people take creatine, right, to kind of keep them levels up so that they muscularly they can do more and have a greater output for a longer period of time. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Well, the voltage thing at the cell, to keep it simple, is everything happens at the cell membrane. Is you want to get good stuff in, okay, elements of food, and you want to get bad waste out. you got to have a voltage. You have to have a potential across that cell membrane to move stuff. That's how easy it is, right? The car battery's got to move stuff in and move stuff out is the simplest way to explain it. But yeah, and you understand ATP. So
Yeah. ATP is quite I mean, creatine is probably one of the only supplements that's proven to have a positive effect, isn't it? Because it increases that adenosine triphosphate, where a lot of the supplements, I suppose protein aside, because that's kind of just a nutrient really, but like all these other supplements that make these claims that they can do stuff, but it's only really creatine that's actually delivers, time and time again. So, and that's the only one that's scientifically proven. So I am kind of aware of it. How did you stumble across it?
Like I said, my dog, okay, right over here, she couldn't come up the stairs one day, and she just started crying. And I'm like, somebody's not going to work today, so we flipped a coin. It ended up being me, and they X-rayed her, and she had severe, severe arthritis in her spine. And a friend of mine, a very good friend, his name's Dr. Oz Jackson. He's one of the most forward-thinking veterinarians I know. And he's the one that told me about it. Hey, there's this magic machine this person has. And she got so sick so fast, we didn't get to go treat her, but that's unfortunate. But that's what sparked my interest, is like, this is BS. You can't have frequency energy fix stuff, right? But keeping an open mind, I kept looking at it, reading more. And when people go, it's all voodoo, there's 35,000 published papers on PEMF. It's a real thing. I had a doctor tell me last month, he goes, Mark, PEMF is not on trial here. If anyone's questioning you about that, they haven't spent any time researching it, because it's been around a long time, but it's not mainstream, because the whole American Medical Association, and here's, not to go too far back in history, but I told you, like Tesla 1900s, right? In 1934, so Carnegie and Rockefeller, okay? Rockefeller owned all the oil in the world, Standard Oil. He figured out that you can make drugs out of oil. And they own the equivalent of the American Medical Association, all the doctor's license, all the research for universities, the 4 richest guys in the world. They own everything, right? And they said, hey, if you're not doing surgery or drugs, we're pulling your license, and we're pulling the funding from the university. So all of the electrical treatments, current electrical voltage type treatments, all got scrapped in the US, which is stupid, because your body is chemical, electrical, and mechanical. It's stupid to throw one of those out, which we did. So that's why a lot of the research in the US has just got lost and scrapped. It's spinning back up again, but we're behind a lot of countries on it because they didn't do that. So that's kind of the weird history of background and why most people haven't heard it. And, this is not it's not a model for a drug company, right? They want consumable product. They're not going to have something that you use. Now, if you go man on the street and just say, hey, what is PEMF? 1 out of 20 people, maybe 2 out of 20 now, will know what it is from a mat, like at their chiropractor or acupuncturist, or a spa. However, if you ask a horse owner, every single one of them knows what it is. They all know what MagnaWave is. It's this big machine, $1,000 that your veterinarian comes out and treats your horse. It's a weird thing. I have not met a horse owner yet that doesn't know what PEMF is. None. Literally zero. Because this is for people, pets, dogs, cats, horses, and people. We're doing a killing here lately with horses. One lady told us, she goes, Mark, if I can ride my horse you think about a horse, right? A horse owner they get arthritis, they get old, they're race horse, you can't really ride them anymore. They're family members. You're still keeping them for another 20 years, and you got to stall them, right? So, if you can make your horse more comfortable, be able to ride them for a couple more years. I've had several people tell me, Mark, you can charge whatever you want for this thing, right? Because that's a huge, huge deal in the horse industry. And dogs and cats, dogs obviously relax and balance, separation anxiety, allergies, arthritis, dysplasia, all those type of things. So it helps with all those different stuff. Yeah, it is people and pets. So it's used on, we're actually testing it on giraffes. Everyone thinks I'm joking, but we're trying to make giraffes mate using the Love 528 frequency. in the
Yeah,
zoo
it's
here.
quite interesting. How does the actual device work then? Is it site specific, like depending on where you put it, or how does it work?
No, and sometimes a little bit yes. Okay. But it's mostly no. So you just put it in your pocket, you turn it on, put it in your pocket, you wear it with a lanyard around your neck. Here's a lanyard right here, right? Or you put it in your back pocket, or I gave up a couple years ago telling women to quit putting it in their bra because they do it anyway. So the women stick in their bra. The magnetic field itself will not travel that far because that's physics. It just doesn't. But you still get full body coverage if it's near your body. It doesn't have to be on the skin, but as closer the better. And the theory I have is like a pebble in a pond. So there's 3 ways it does that. Pebble in a pond, the energy's focused where it is, but it's going to travel through the water in your body. If you remember from high school science class, if you have an alternating magnetic field, it's going to create an alternating electrical current and vice versa. So it's an alternating magnetic field. It's going to create a current. It's very low, but your body's electrically conductive. So it'll travel through your body just like conductivity in wires. And then also your cells have magnetite in it. That's a recent discovery. Magnetite's what's in the cells of turtles and birds and other mammals that we believe is what they use for migration, for their compass. And it's been discovered humans have it in their cells too. So that probably allows it to transfer as well. Excuse me. The reason we think the water resonance is the biggest thing, or one of the main things, it works, but it doesn't work as well if you're not hydrated. So we tell everyone 4 glasses of water in the 4 hours before session's going to give you a lot better results. And that's been shown over and over. Now, if it's arthritis in your wrist or pain in your back, the closer you can get it, the better. It's still going to work within your pocket. A broken foot will still heal within your top pocket. But if it's actual chronic pain, the closer you can get it, the better, but it'll still work if you can. And a good example is PTSD is probably one of the biggest things that we have. Well, that's in every part of your body. And most people wouldn't know this. It's actually been proven now that you can see PTSD in a cell. You can see when it's there and when it's gone. You can measure it at that level now. And so it's in every part of your body. So where would you put it for PTSD? It's not in your head. It is in your head, but it's in your organs, your liver, your blood, bones, everywhere. So a lanyard or a pocket. So you get full body coverage for those reasons I just stated. If it's back pain or neck pain, the closer you can get it, the better. For most people.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I've got back pain, so if I'm going to use it, I'll stick it as close to that as I can. Are there any safety issues or concerns with it, Mark?
Yeah, the entire community is going to tell you this. Okay, now I got to give you the robot answer. Okay. If you have a pacemaker or any electronics or insulin pump, don't use it. And if you're pregnant, don't use it. Now, is there any cases anywhere that says there's been a problem with the pregnancy or that it's stopped the pacemaker? No. So, but the correct party line is no, don't use it with pacemakers, insulin pumps, any electronics inside your body, or pregnancy. Implants that don't have electronics like stents or artificial hip or knee, that's all fine. It's just the theory that it's almost the same paranoia as why you can't have your cell phone on when you're in an airplane. And I'm a pilot. There's no way that cell phone is screwing up that navigate avionics. It's not. But it's a safety thing of maybe what if, we're not sure, so don't do it. Now, that's the official line. You could edit this out if you want to. This is 9 Gauss. That's the energy level of the magnetic field. An MRI is 50,000 Gauss. 9, 50,000. For years, doctors would go, hey, you got a pacemaker, we can't do an MRI. And then finally, doctors got smart and went, well, you know what? We don't look inside you, you're going to die anyway. We need to see what's going on, so let's take a chance. To my knowledge, only one person has ever died from an MRI. One. And we do 1 million a year. And the person didn't die from a pacemaker. They got hit in the head by an oxygen tank because it flew across the room and it wasn't tied down. Now, that's the unofficial answer. But anyone of our customers ask, can you use it with a pacemaker? The answer is no. Just for safety reasons.
Yeah,
Now,
fair enough. I guess that kind of makes sense until more testing can be done, I suppose, and people are very nervous of risk, aren't they, with medical risk especially?
Yeah, and there's literally tens of thousands of people that have MRIs with pacemakers. But the other warning is The first time you use it for severe pain, don't be driving a car or operating a catapult, because it can get you drunk or stoned. And the reason this has been measured, because if you've got pain for 20 years in your body and suddenly it's gone, your body pumps out tons of endorphins, right? So you get stoned high. It's like a runner's high, right? Or an athlete's high. So, and I had a woman over here backpedal into the chair and sit down and said she was seeing double vision and she'd gotten a car wreck. So that's the only other warning is, be careful with pain the first few times you use it to see how you react. Those are it.
Yeah. I'm quite intrigued by it all, to be honest. I'm quite interested. And you said about obviously PTSD. Does it work for other kind of mental health conditions? What about like anxiety and stuff like that? Because a lot of the mental health conditions affect your whole body, don't they? They affect the whole organism. It's not just, your mind, is it?
PTSD is where I started, and I'm going to say PTSD and trauma, not just military, right? Because that's kind of where I first went because of suicides, but more than half of customers are civilian women that have bad boyfriends, bad husbands, crappy kids, miscarriages, life, right? So PTSD, trauma, you just said it. The number 2 is anxiety, because it's the number 1 ailment in people in every culture in the world. Anxiety. Sleep, back pain, neck pain, just general inflammation in general. Fibromyalgia, we have a huge success with that, or neuropathy, because there's so many people out there struggling where their doctor told them, it's in your head, there's nothing wrong with you. There is, right? So neuropathy is a big one. I can't say the D word. I'll just say blood sugar, okay? So I don't, because they'll come out, the SUVs will show up at the front door. Is blood sugar, it can drop it dramatically if you are a D person, okay? So we're running clinical. We have enough anecdotal data that I know it works, but I'm running third-party independent clinical trials on the D word right now. We're doing one on Lyme disease. For a year and a half, Aaron, I had people ask me, what do you have for Lyme disease? And I was like, I don't even know what it is really. And then you look into it and you get in focus groups with some Facebook people. It is the most awful. It's way worse than cancer. It's so awful to see these people for 20 years, can't sleep, can't eat, right? So I finally dug into, is there something for Lyme disease? We developed a protocol and it's working. It's working in that it's making everyone sick because it's killing the bacteria. So we got to go through a whole cleansing process and stuff. But we're running clinical trials on that. And then the one that's like super exciting is the vagus nerve stimulation. There's a few products on the market where you got to put 15 volts to your neck. You don't need to do that. Okay. So you can just wear it like this on your chest, because your vagus nerve is in both sides. It's in your brain, comes down both sides of the neck, clusters around your heart, sternum, and then it connects to every organ. If you get that right, get it toned correctly, it fixes a bunch of stuff. Your heart rate variability, your pulse, your sleep, depression, all kinds, lots and lots of different things. So we're running clinical trials on that. We're getting fantastic results. Literally, today is Thursday. I'm not making this up. Tomorrow, I have a new product out, but tomorrow we're going to make a decision on which protocol to use. Here's the good news. I'm using 2 different ones. They're both working. One's a little better in this range, and this one's a little better in this range. So we got to make a decision tomorrow which one we're using, because I have a new product coming out. It's going to be a pendant that you wear like a necklace. So this device, I made it as idiot-proof as I thought I could. It's 59 protocols. They're alphabetical. You scroll, let it boot up for a second. You scroll the one you want. It's still booting. You scroll the one you want like that. You hit play. It's alphabetical, and you put it in your pocket. That's it. It's got a timer on there. It shows, hour and 3 minutes, and you're 5 seconds in. And just to show you real quick, because my wife thinks this is the dumbest invention ever. A little tube with a magnet in it. Because I have an app. I'll show you real quick. So let me just show this real fast. It's a free app that anyone can do, but people struggle with downloading apps, Bluetooth and all that stuff. So I showed you Earth, right? Is let me zoom out a little bit. So, I mean, on your phone, the magnetometer, every phone has one. It's going to be right about there, the top center-ish. it's so compass works on your phone, among other things, and GPS and stuff. So you can see right there, I just shook it with my hand, but that's Earth. And then when I put this up there, you can see so that's showing all the frequencies run. People are too dumb to do that. So I created this little tube, and you just stick it on the magnets like that, and you can see it jumping around. You can hear it, right? So this little tester comes with every order for that reason. It's actually saved me. I didn't expect, I designed it to just prove to people it's working, but we have a power level on there, and the thing goes into sleep mode after 15 seconds to save power, but you hit any button and what people are doing, I think, is when they're waking it back up, they're hitting the power button. Every day we get somebody goes, mine's broken, I need a new one. I'm like, time out. Go make sure it's at power level 10. This happened the day before yesterday. We're on a Zoom call, and the lady's going, and she's getting mad at me, right? She goes, it's on power level 10. Why do I have to get on a call and prove it to you? And her husband's sitting right there, and he goes, hey, babe, it's at 0. And she goes, right? So it's now a test to prove that you turn the power down. So turn it back up. You did it by accident. So anyway, but forget what your question was now. That was a long answer, Mark.
No, that's cool, man. I'm just quite interested in it and how it works, and how it's applied it. And you say about the different programs. Are the programs kind of for different conditions and stuff like that? Is that what they're programmed in as to make it simple for people?
Yeah, they're all completely different programs. They're alphabetical order. They're frequency pairs. People will ask all the time, what frequencies it run at? It doesn't. It's got frequency pairs. Frequency A is where is it? B is what's wrong with it, kind of. Okay. For example, PTSD is the most complex one. It's going through 76 different frequency pairs, changing every 1 to 4 minutes. General information is a lot simpler. It's just running a couple frequency pairs. So they're all complex. They come from 8,000 practitioners and 35 years playing with it. Okay. So if you think of the 2 frequencies as a chord on a guitar, the protocols are songs. And we're changing and rewriting the songs all the time, but we have a lot of data on them. I've written a few from scratch, like PEMF, Lyme disease I just mentioned. There's some of them that just didn't exist. So you have to look at the basics of 40 hertz is inflammation and 252 is medulla in the brain, right? And then you go, okay. And it's a bunch of trial error of just trying it. And that's where they came from. That's where the frequencies come from. And that's what I stayed away from vagus nerve because I didn't understand it at all, but there's so much stuff it's doing. There's so much research now that I'm putting a lot of effort into it. But this one, it would be a vagus nerve stimulator. This is as easy as I thought I could design it. This one is so easy. I made an instruction video the day before yesterday, and I didn't even know what to say. Because here's what you do. You hold it for 2 seconds, you turn it on, put it around your neck. There's nothing else to explain. There's no wear for 30 minutes or as long as you want. Right? Measure your heart rate variability and see how your metabolism and your biomarkers and stuff change and it feel better. But yeah, this one I made is as simple as I possibly could. And I got part of that from the doctors in the hospitals and stuff. They're like, yep, this is good, but I want something that's so idiot proof that a nurse hits a button and puts it on the patient. Nothing else. So that kind of gave me the spark of, all right, I can do that. It's not near as versatile. It doesn't have 59 different protocols on it, but things like vagus nerve stimulation. In fact, there's a docu-series coming out right now that I'm featured in on gut health and what the vagus nerve frequencies are doing for gut health. And we've done those tests and stuff. So a single unit, single function device still can have a lot of benefit. But anyway, I made that one because it looks cool too. I'm not shocking somebody's neck with an electrical thing. It's a piece of jewelry you can wear, right? And part of my business model literally is bartenders, let them be affiliates and stand there and they're wearing that thing. And people, what the hell is that? Here's what it is. I'm an affiliate. Want to buy one? Scan my QR code. That's the business model that I'm pushing right now. Just started rolling that out. So, and it's, we sell them wholesale and stuff. We're getting more and more doctors every day. I probably got a new wholesaler probably once every 2 months. I probably get 4 or 5 a day now. And it's usually this scenario. Patient walks in and get their A1C and their blood sugar, and the doctor goes, finally, after 15 years, you change your diet, start exercise, and do what I told you to do. And they go, I started using this. They go, what the hell is that? They grab it out of their hand and they call me. What is this? Right? That's how I get most of my doctors as wholesalers, is the patient goes in and goes, this thing. And they've never heard of it because they've been trained what they've been trained. American Medical Association, 99% of them are not going to go outside of those bounds, right? There are very few people. Fortunately, there's more and more that are, because everyone's realizing how screwed up our system is. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. That's how I get a lot of people, doctors and stuff, interested in it.
Cool, man. Are they rechargeable and stuff? Are they just...
Yeah, it's rechargeable. It's a lithium battery. It's like your cell phone. Haven't been out long enough to know how many charges you get out, but just looking at lithium batteries, after like 1,000 charges, it's only going to hold 60% of its original power. It's just like your cell phone. Eventually, it's not going to hold the charge as long, but we have, in the 2-3 years we have them out there, we haven't had any where the battery didn't work anymore. They're not replaceable batteries on purpose, because I tried to make this design easy and I don't want people in there. I'll show you what it really is. Here's the secret to the world, okay? And this is a long path to get there. Designing stuff, catching things on fire, didn't work. I've gone through 400 coil designs, 500 maybe. There's an 8-foot pile of coils over here last year that my wife made me throw away. I'm not making that up. What it ended up being, it's actually a music player. It's an MP3 player, a battery, a board. Instead of a speaker, it has coils. All the programs on there are songs. They're MP3s. So the frequencies I was talking about, I use a music synthesizer to create the MP3. So if I took these coils out and put a speaker in there, you'd hear it. It'd go, you'd hear the frequencies. So it's an MP3 driving the song through a coil instead of a speaker. That's what's making the magnet. So it's music for your body. Your body's listening to it. Your ears aren't. Now, if you stick it right to your ear, you can hear a little buzzing, because the coil's got energy in it and it's going to move a little bit of air. Most people can't hear anything. They're not going to feel anything except feeling better. It gets a little warm. It gets like 105 Fahrenheit. I keep women with a padded bra that big, give it some air, right? If you shove it in there, it's going to get kind of warm because it needs to breathe a little bit, or should. I had a guy yesterday, his overheated. Well, he sent it back to me. He had this wrap with duct tape 25 times so it wouldn't get wet. Solved that mystery. It's in the trash right here, by the way. I solved that mystery. You duct tape the vents on it. Okay, don't do that. If you go duct tape the vent grill on your car, it's going to overheat.
Yeah, do the frequencies mess about with anything else, like with phones or anything like that? Do they interfere with telephone, like mobile phones or anything like that?
They're completely different frequencies. So short answer to that question. This is 1 to 1,000 hertz, which sounds like a lot, but that's almost 0 on the scale of frequencies, right? This is 1,000,000 hertz. This is 1,000,000 times more than this one. Now, the scale that I use to try to explain to people is when you go to the dentist and you get an x-ray, they put a lead vest on you. Why? Because that's 10 to the 12th power. Giga, guga, gaga, whatever hertz, okay? There's that much energy. That's why you have a lead screen to stop that energy going into your cells. So logarithmic scale, right? Here is x-rays, right, at the dentist. Then you've got your microwave oven, right? Then you got your TV and cell phones. You got your Wi-Fi routers at 2.4 gigahertz. This is 0, actually, when you plot it, because it's 1 to 1,000 on an exponential scale. It actually is 0. So the energy level is super low. It's designed to, because you get asked this every day, Aaron, how does it put out EMF? And I know what they're asking. They're asking, is it harmful? I'm like, yes, it puts out EMF. That's an electromagnetic field. PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic field. Sunlight, the light in your room, everything is not everything. There's electromagnetic energy everywhere. The question is whether it's harmful or not, or helpful. This is designed to transmit to a tower so you can talk to a tower that's 8 miles away. So it's a lot higher frequency. This is designed to collapse back on itself to heal your body, and it's super, super, super low energy. So And we run into this all the time, Aaron. I wish they didn't make EMF meters for people because they think they know everything. They'll go like this and go, oh, your thing's killing me. I'm like, do you even know what your meter's measuring? No, you don't. And the manufacturer's not even going to tell you because they don't probably know. And the sampling rate, you get in all the science of, I've had several people send it back because they put an EMF meter up there and it's moving. Yeah, it's a magnetic field. It's going to move something. Okay. The question is whether it's harmful or not. In fact, everyone will cringe when I say this. Okay. There's actually an NIH study out there that says putting that next to your ear is good. Good for you. Okay. Nobody will take that paper and repeat it or publish it. They don't want to redo that study. Nothing. Because everyone wants to assume a phone is evil. Right. So it's funny though. It's like, and here's another controversial one, just for fun. No doctor will entertain this with me. There's an NIH double-blind study out there that shows Wi-Fi will increase your blood sugar. A continuous glucose monitor for diabetics is Wi-Fi. We have anecdotal data, and there's a study, a double-blind study out there that says that is raising your blood sugar. Now, Libre guys and all those guys, the billion-dollar companies that have all these continuous glucose monitors would freak out if they heard me say that. Nobody will do that study with me. I don't really want to because I don't want them burning my house down. Okay. But we know if they take that off and prick their fingers, it's a much more accurate measurement and the blood sugar goes down when you use this. Sometimes it doesn't with the continuous glucose monitor because it's driving the sugar up. But if they take it off and just do a finger prick and look at A1C, it goes down. Okay. You didn't ask me any of that, so I'll probably get shot for everything I just said there. But there's those things like, I was on a call yesterday with a diabetic doctor, his webinar he does every Wednesday. I won't say his name. He's a diabetic expert, right? I asked that question 3 times. Here's the study. I could see him reading my question and he stopped halfway through the question. He skipped it. And I said, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me in this hour webinar. And he purposely forgot about me. And I've been on that call 3 times now. You don't want to talk about glucose monitors and what they're doing. Maybe. Right. So that's keep an open mind, and maybe that's happening, but you got to go get more testing.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't understand the science or stuff as well behind it. So, I mean,
but you don't. Here's what I say to all my Facebook haters. I got a lot of them. Oh my God, I got to hire somebody just to handle that. Here's the top one. I said, liar, liar, pants on fire. Here's the top 100 scams of all time. Because I get death threats, Aaron. A lot. People hate me, but this can't work. Your scam artists steal money from old ladies. But I go, I have a money back guarantee. How am I stealing? What's the financial model here? I don't get it, right? But the top 100 scams of all time: DNA sequencing, CRISPR, gene splicing, antibiotics, right? MRIs. I list 100 things that were absolutely, positively impossible until they weren't. It's that simple. Absolutely impossible till they weren't. If you spend 5 minutes, and I want you and your listeners to do this, go research how an MRI works. You will go, that's 7 levels of magic that are all impossible. None of that can be happening, but we're doing 1 million a year and we're getting pictures. How is that possible? It is that magical what an MRI does. I'm a rocket scientist. That is 1 million times more impressive than an MRI. It is that crazy on what it actually does. If we had time, I'd give you my 2-minute version on it, but we'll keep moving.
To be fair, most of the world is magical to me because I don't know how most things work. I don't like mobile phones even, you know what I mean? It's something I use every single day and I don't understand the science behind it, the technology and how it works.
Very, very, very few people do. So asking your friends, okay, how is there millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of phones and the voice on my call doesn't bleed over to yours like it used to on a phone 30 years ago or 40 years ago? See if anyone knows that answer, right? Because it's very complex and it changes, right? How you keep adding more and more phones and doing all kinds of 0-1 splitting crazy stuff that they're doing with the technology behind it. And I'm not a cell phone expert either, but yeah, it's pure magic, man. There's lots of it and you don't understand it all. I used to teach at Los Alamos National Lab, creative thinking, 4 times a year. These are the smartest nuclear physicists in the world, right? I'm just a dumbass chemical engineer. So I know they're not going to listen to me. Here's how I start every presentation. I don't make eye contact with them. I walk in the room and I have a chart that says the history of physics. And I just go through it and I go, wrong, 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 wrong. Every 10 to 15 years, physics is completely wrong. Whatever you thought was right is completely wrong. So I just beat them to death. Still ain't looking at them. I'm just beating them down. And I turn to them and I go, based on all that, you guys agree with all those things I just said? And they all go, yeah. That means there's a 98% probability that your doctor's thesis is worse shit. Because whatever you were working on, we're going to find out in 20 years, is completely inaccurate. And they all kind of slouch in their chair. I do it on purpose to slap them around a little bit so they open their mind and think about the world a little bit different. Is you don't know everything. You don't know anything hardly. Right? Life is a video game. You just keep going to the next level when you figure it out.
Yes.
I think, anyway, that's my analogy to it.
Yeah, no, it's true though, isn't it? The things that we know today to be true versus what we thought were true 10, 20 years ago, and that'll continue, right? Like in 20, 30 years time, there'll be stuff disproven that we all believed and thought of. So, it's constantly evolving, isn't it? Our understanding, our ability to create as well is changing based on our understanding that keeps developing over time as well.
I mean, to that point, because these are some of my personal pet peeves, and people are going to go, that's not right, Mark, blah, blah, blah. Go do your own research. Okay. So the whole blood pressure. Okay. That's one of my main things. 120 over 80 is supposed to be. Then it went to 115 over 75. Well, they did that so you buy more drugs and more people are on drugs. Okay. The reality with real data, without doctors interfering, everyone's going to cringe when I say this. If you're over 60 like me, I'm 63. For optimum longevity, my blood pressure should be 140 to 150 over 90. Okay. Very few doctors can tell you that, but I can show you a study that has 450,000 people in it. That's what the AI says without a human being screwing up the data and cherry picking it. How much money was spent on statins, or still is? The most expensive drug in the world. There's no data at all that says they're effective. They're harmful. There's nothing that says LDL is bad for you. There's multiple doctors out there that will show you all those studies because they looked at the real data. But every doctor that you have, 99% of them see your LDL, they're going to try to put you on a statin, right? Salt. This is another big one. I was told for years, like everybody else, your blood pressure, you need to lower your salt intake. I gave a lecture one time. It's in my lecture as a piece of creative thinking. This guy afterwards walks up to me and hands me a book. The title of the book was Salt Your Way to Health. He goes, everything you just said, Mark's bullshit. I've been studying this my whole life. Here's my new book. And I read it, and he's right. There's no data. So how did we get to the point that salt was bad for you? Because the Surgeon General was scrambling around in 1970 trying to come up with an answer. They gave rats, you listening, 50 to 150 times the normal salt intake, and their blood pressure went up 8 points, their systolic. That's what it's based on. That's so stupid, it's unbelievable. One of my favorite drinks, diet drinks right now, not diet drinks, health drinks, is a salt drink. It's a carbonated salt drink with electrolytes in it because they got real data. And if you look at the data, it says the average person should have 3 to 4 times more salt in their blood than they have that the USDA or the FDA and everyone recommend. Those are 3 examples of millions of things like, nope, that isn't what the data says. Dr. Ken Parry, if your listeners don't know him, he's a character. He's a card. Go watch his stuff. He will debunk everything. And he's like, his cholesterol is 380. And everyone goes, what do you tell people when your heart's going to, is your heart going to explode? And they go, no, it's not going to explode. The data says it's a good thing. And he shows the data why it is.
Yeah, I don't know a massive amount about it, to be honest, enough about it. But the problem with a lot of the science out there is a lot of it is done on rodents and stuff like that. And a lot of it is exaggerated. So, but without getting into actually reading and studying the actual studies that have been done and the empirical evidence that's actually out there, then it's difficult, isn't it? And then the problem is you'll get a snippet of one study that is published, mass published, because somebody in the media is interested in it, and then that becomes the general consensus, regardless of whatever other studies exist or come after it or wherever else. And often it's not kind of thought about critically and assessed properly.
It's usually more dark and sinister than that. is not a journalist was interested in it. A journalist was paid to be interested in it. Okay. How we doing on time, Aaron?
We good. We got 5 minutes or so.
Because I could talk forever. So
No, we're good.
ask me a couple more questions and we'll.
Yeah, we're good. No, I think the problem is that there are a lot of studies out there, and some of the studies are even funded, aren't they? Big Pharma or by certain organizations that have a goal in mind, which is kind of
it's worse than that.
A bit dodgy.
75% of the FDA's research budget is funded by the drug companies. Pfizer, Merck, and Eli Lilly, those three pay for 75% of the FDA research.
That's a big old chunk, isn't it?
It's the majority of it, right? And it's obviously for the last 25 years. We can go into why that happened, which is sickening, but we won't because it takes too long.
Yeah, I wonder. I assume that they get some form of kickback from those as well if they are proven to be in their favor.
Here's how that happened real quick. The drug companies were screaming at the FDA, you're taking too long to approve new drugs and you're killing people because we got drugs and you won't get them out on the, let them sell. And they said, well, we don't have enough people because we don't have enough federal budget to do it. And they said, well, what if we give you budget to hire people? That's how it started. How that got passed, laws in Congress and everything, who knows? But that's how they ended up funding the FDA, is they are FDA employees, but the money's coming from the government for their payroll. Now, we'll skip that because they will show up at the door. They are listening to everything I'm saying. Trust me. I know they are. I'm not being paranoid. They have told me that I'm monitoring everything you're doing, all your social media, anything you say on a podcast, any videos, any emails you send, we are watching.
Well, that's all right. Guess my view's up, Mark, so I'm all right with that.
What's that?
It gets my views up, so I'm okay with that.
There you go.
Get them all on here. Get the whole organisation on here. Get the government on here.
All right. Well, the government's on me. They've been on me for 10 months. So, yeah, I'm hoping in this country that Kennedy being in charge of the FDA and our crazy new president, maybe that's something good will come out of it. Is he's firing enough people that maybe they'll stop this insanity? Because anyway, it's absurd. If I showed you all the emails I've gotten from the FDA, you'd go, what, huh? And I get to respond to it, and then they come at you from another angle, and then you answer that, so they jump on you, they bully you from over here. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Things work differently in the US to the UK a bit, I think. So
yes, we're more screwed up.
It's a bit of a different world here. Mark, before we do go, because I am conscious you've got other kind of appointments and plans, where can people find your products?
So it's resona.health, RESONA.health, not a .com, and it's short for resonance. If they have a sense of humor, which I'm sure your audience does, they can go to, we just talked about it, the FDAsucks.com.
What's on that one?
It takes you to a landing page. It describes all this technology and knowledge and where it comes from, and you learn more about the device. But that's a website I own, the FDAsucks.com.
Yeah, copy that. If people want to learn a bit more, or they just want to kind of connect with you and learn a little bit more first before they kind of bit the bullet and kind of bought a product from you, where can they do that?
Yeah, that's the best place. Resona.health or the FDAsucks.com. You'll see all the products. They'll go on the deepest, go into the knowledge base. You can go to very high level pamphlets, to ebooks that I've written, to tons and tons of research that's out there, to the deepest. They could go on PubMed, search 35,000 documents. So it'll walk them through a sequence, exactly that. How high do you want to start? How much do you want to know? How deep in this rabbit hole do you want to go? And you can spend the rest of your life reading on this and watching videos if you want to. But all that information is on this website.
No worries. Mark, before we do go, do you have any kind of final thoughts or messages that you want to share with people?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it too. What I said with the Los Alamos National Labs guys was, in the 70s, there was a comedian called Rich Hall, and he did a thing called sniglets. They were words that aren't in the dictionary, but they should be. And one of them was boson. It's a combination of bozo and ozone. So it's an invisible gas that surrounds people, that stops fresh ideas from getting in. So get rid of the boson, keep an open mind, and go learn some stuff. Just like this device. I have money back guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, send it back. But yeah, keep an open mind because you don't know everything. I mean, I know I'm smart enough to know how stupid I am. Crossed over that threshold of I don't know 1/1000% of anything. I only know a little bit about stuff to be fun and dangerous. Not dangerous, but I know enough about DNA to be dangerous because one of the companies I started was creating music and art from DNA, doing like a mouse swap. My wife goes, "How many companies you started in the last 10 years?" I'm like, "I don't know." She goes, "Go count them." And it was 12. I'm like, okay. Well, this one, if it wasn't for Mark Zuckerberg taking all my money because the ads cost way more than the product costs, right? So he's the one that's killing me. But if it wasn't for him, I might make money one day. I'm not making it yet, but this is the most fun I've ever had as a job because it's helping people. And we will dive into that. Just the amount of success stories and stuff of people's lives that it's changing is, and we've sold, I think, to date, I just looked the other day, I think 13,000 of them, right? So, and we're ramped up to 5,000 a month now, 10,000 in the next couple months per month. Yeah, so it's fun and it's helping.
Yeah, I think you ship globally as well, Mark.
We ship, actually, good point. We ship worldwide free. We have free shipping worldwide.
I'll follow that. Mark, I'm conscious you have to go and you have another appointment to go to. So
yeah,
not a problem at all. So I'm going to finish the interview there, but I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Harry. This is really good talk. I appreciate it. Stay
My
in touch.
pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for being part of this journey. Stay tuned. We've got even more great conversations coming your way.